On today's show, the San Diego Padres lose their series against the New York Mets, whether Mike Schildt should be under fire for pulling Randy Vasquez early, as well as keeping an eye out for two players that might surprise you, Xander Bogarts and Matt Waldron. All that and more. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Thursday, September 18th. As always, I'm your host with sometimes the most, Javier Reyes, and I've been covering this team for nearly 6 years now, not just for this podcast, but various other outlets, including JustBaseball.com, chief among them. Today's episode, guys, though, is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Go check that out. You can also check out the YouTube channel. If you want to send me questions, leave your comment in the comment description, and I will get back to you, especially on Monday's show, where we usually answer a lot of mailbag questions. Although, frankly, I've been kind of spreading it out lately, so send me questions, whatever. I love hearing from you guys and just responding. And I love hearing your takes and thoughts. I can learn from you guys too, just the way you sometimes occasionally might learn from me. Today's episode, we are focusing on the last 2 games of this Mets series. Anything we can extrapolate from the series kind of going forward, losing another series to a team that's above 500, whether there should be panic there, and then talking about some updates on Matt Waldron and Xander Bogarts. Gonna be a lot of fun. And then also talk about some injury luck. I want to kind of go over that. We're going to talk about that when we get to Bogarts. But first, let's talk about today's game before we get into the fun game. Let's get let's drown out the vodka with the sugar, right? So let's get it over with. The Padres lose the final game in this series by a score of 6-1. I feel like the big question, there's 2 takeaways I think that are going to happen from this game. Right? Number one is a lot of people are like, wow, Jonah Tong. And I talked about this before this series. On Monday, I talked about how Jonah Tong, yes, he had a high ERA, but that was because his ERA got completely bloated by going less than an inning and giving up 6 runs, right? He's actually had 3 out of 4 starts in his career look pretty good so far. He's getting Tim Lincecum vibes because of his approach and his look and all that sort of stuff, and completely kills the Padres in this one, man. They were showing the highlights on TV. It was unfortunate for the Pods, right? 5 innings in this one, 0 earned runs, 4 hits allowed, no walks, and 8 strikeouts. The Padres' reputation, penchant, tendency, whatever word you want to use, for making pitchers who are young and inexperienced look great, continued yet again. The only run that they get in this game is from a Luis Arraez sac fly, right? On a pitch that was a little bit outside the zone, but I got to give him credit. It was the only RBI at the time, tying the game 1-1. Randy Vasquez, that's the other part of this. You're going to talk about Jonah Tong for the Mets side of things, and then maybe on the Padres Friar Faithful side, did they take out Randy Vasquez too early from this game? Only 2 1/3 in this one. He labors a little bit, gives up 4 earned runs in total in this game, but they aren't all technically his. Wandy Peralta comes in and gives up the big home run to Brandon Nimmo in the bottom of the 3rd inning. I personally would have kept him in, because Randy Vasquez has actually been pretty good as of late and actually given them innings. He's gone 6 in both of his last 2 starts prior to this one. And don't get me wrong, I always talk about his peripherals aren't good. This is a good Mets team. But to me, I don't know. I just wouldn't have liked to do that, especially with a series starting tomorrow. But Mike Schildt is managing, and I disagree with it sometimes, but he's managing saying, you know what? I'm trying to win every game until it's absolutely certain that the Dodgers are going to win the NL West. But let me tell you, I don't know if putting Wandy Peralta in is necessarily the sign of like, yeah, this is like a game I want to win now. No, a game that's like you're super desperate to win is maybe when you take out a guy in the 5th inning and then you're like, let's just roll with Jeremiah Estrada right now, whatever it is, right? Like, I'm not making a lot of sense, but basically what I'm trying to say is I disagree with the decision. I will say that his cutter was not working very well today. All right, the average exit velocity on his cutter today, Randy Vasquez, and I think that the best statistical nerd evidence for why Randy Vasquez is able to avoid his advanced statistics, avoid his expected stats. We talk about this a lot, but walks a lot of guys, doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, doesn't put the ball on the ground, the ball goes in the air a lot, all these different things. How is he able to survive? I think it's because of the cutter this year that he's been able to use against lefties. And in this one, an average exit velo of 102.1, right? Like, he was getting hit hard with that cutter. in this game, right? Like, so they were hitting on it, and it's funny that his fastball was kind of good. He actually generated 4 whiffs on 7 swings, but overall just not a good start from Vasquez. So if you want to just look at it from that perspective and say, hey, he was in danger, maybe he just ends up giving that home run up to Nimmo, maybe, but still, I didn't like the pull entirely, right? I just really didn't. And Pete Alonso, you saw in the first inning, really, like, that cutter just did not move. I didn't have enough movement, and he hits that solo shot in the bottom of the first, so maybe Schildt was like, it's not Randy's day. But 2 2/3 after not many pitches, right? I think it was around 48 pitches that he had over that time frame, so I didn't love that. But that's basically it. Like I said, 2 for 4 day for Fernando Tatis Jr. You get the 1 RBI from Arraez. Manny Machado 1 for 4. Merrill nothing. It's his first bad game a little bit. 0 for 4 from Laureano. Sheets gets a hit, but overall just a kind of absent day for the Padres, an afternoon game. Maybe they're just not used to games in the afternoon like this. I mean, they are, but maybe it's weird for them on the East Coast. I don't know, but whatever it is, just a really, really poor final game for the Padres. That, yeah, it could be a microcosm of what we've seen this season, which is whenever they play good teams, they falter a little bit. And yes, it was 48 pitches in total. So I don't know. I don't want to start blaming. Bottom line is the guys just need to play better. And again, this is the concern. And I talk about this more with Jake Ariani on tomorrow's Fun Friday edition of the podcast. So be sure to tune into that. That's a lot of fun. Talking about like the playoff temperature vibes. If you had to face the Cubs today, how do you feel about the Padres? We talk about that on Friday's show. Talk about what I just said with Schildt, all those sort of things. A lot of fun. But other than that, not much else to really report, I think, about this game. I mean, genuinely, like really nothing. Just Randy Vasquez didn't have it. Should he have put in Wandy Peralta? I think the question would be more, should he have taken Vasquez out? Not, oh, why'd you go to Wandy? It's like, well, because it's the third inning, and you use a low leverage guys in the third inning. So I don't know. But I'm also getting a little bit tired of just ignoring the fact that, like, the starters just don't go deep into games. Does Ruben Niebla deserve a little bit of flack for that? Just a little bit, for the fact that Nestor Cortez and JP Sears just haven't really been guys for them whatsoever. I don't know. I don't totally know. I frankly don't totally know a lot of things. So I'm surprised anyone listens to me. It's pretty crazy how that works, isn't it? Life is crazy, guys. It really is. But we're not done. We're going to talk about the fun game and talk about that game, as well as talking about Machado not breaking a record, but being the leader in a certain record, and going to talk about some injury stuff. And then, of course, my thing about Xander Bogarts and Mr. Matt Waldron. But first, I need to talk to you guys about our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Here's what I love about them. Here's what I love about 5 Hour Energy, guys. This is what I love so much. They're just here for you to give you a big flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. And what I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. It's great. You know what I mean? It's just, and you know what I like so much is the flavor name, man. They've got peppermint. They've got all these different flavors. It's really fantastic. And what I love is that it kicks in fast as well, and it's sugar-free, so you don't have to worry about, like I said, the crash. And I love the variety and all that stuff. So go check it out, guys. Enough with the boring. My goodness, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Go check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are back thriving and vibing into the second segment of this here podcast. Hope you're all doing great. You can check me out on the socials that I'm not currently using, but I'll be back to them at some point at Javapeno, JAVIIPENO, Twitter/X and Blue Sky. Let's talk about the fun game that I didn't get to recap. Now, guys, in case you're wondering, if I don't recap a game, if I don't give my big picture thoughts, remember our boy, Big Jim Grease. He's available doing the postcast live after the game. I actually appeared on the postcast for this game, so you guys can go check that out. But the only thing I have to add, I have a lot of things to add, frankly, about this game, in which the Padres win by an astounding score of 7-4. Let's talk about the pitching first. The Padres are able to get to David Peterson in this game. 6 earned runs from David Peterson. Great stuff. He's been basically their most consistent, solid starter of the year. But the Mets also got to Nick Pivetta a little bit. 4 2/3 in this game. 3 earned runs on 7 hits, 0 walks, 5 Ks. I'll kind of just repeat quickly what I said on the postcast and also what Jim said, which is, you would think Jim has been very critical of Schildt, a little more critical than me. But he was totally fine with taking out Pivetta, as he brought up 3 solo shots given up by Nick Pivetta. Thankfully, they were only solo shots, and this was actually the shortest outing that he'd had since June, right? Like, this was, that's actually crazy. Nick Pivetta, he's been so solid for so long that maybe this was just clearly going to be one of his off games. And with the 3 home runs, I talked about this with Michael King, so it'd be hypocritical to not talk about it with Nick Pivetta. Michael King's first start, he did give up a couple home runs, right? Like, that's how he gave it up. And then Tatis saved one, so it could have been 3 home runs. Well, Nick Pivetta, he gave up 3 home runs here. I don't mind him necessarily going to the bullpen, and especially it doesn't matter because today they didn't end up needing them, right? Because they just didn't score. So shout out to Nick Pivetta, still great, and is still the game 1 starter in the postseason for sure. And again, like I said, I mean, it's literally his shortest outing since June 20th against the Royals when he went 4 2/3 as well. Like, I mean, he's just been so automatic. He's such a beast. Cannot hate on the man at all. And frankly, the fact that this is his shortest outing since June, can we end the episode with just that? Right? Can I end it with that? I think I can. I feel like I can. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm kidding, of course. But other things from this game, Manny Machado with the absolute blast. The home run. It starts off with just a sac fly from Sheets. The Padres are down. Starling Marte gets a game-tying shot off of Nick Pivetta. That's the other thing. They were shots. The Alonso and Marte home runs, they were nukes. Like the Marte one, it's like that guy doesn't even hit for power, especially these days. And he crushed one. But Manny Machado, a huge, huge 5th inning in which the Padres draw a lot of walks, right? You get one from Tatis. You get one from what's his face? Give me a second. I'm blanking on his name. From Ramon Laureano. You get walks from Jake Cronenworth. Not technically a walk. He actually ends up getting hit by a pitch to start the inning. He's just a master of getting hit by pitches, I guess. Arise gets a single, but overall in this game, just really, really good stuff. The only thing I will say is that in this game, it almost hurt them a little bit when Luis Arise had a single and then he was out advancing on a throw. So while, yes, Arise did have a good game, that was a really dumb, boneheaded move to go run on that. The outfielder clearly was still waiting to see where he was going to throw it. You needed to wait to see if he was going to throw it to third or throw it to home, and Elias Diaz ends up not scoring. That's all fine, whatever. Arise still went 2 for 4 with a walk. Right, Arise has been hitting a little bit better. Maybe he could finish the season strong. Tatis 2 for 3 with 2 walks, and Manny Machado, like I said, 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs, the grand slam and stolen base. Can this be a sign that he's really waking up? I hope so. He had a good series against the Rockies. He had an okay series overall against New York, and the big grand slam that basically puts the game away. A low pitch. He throws the same pitch a couple times to him, and he makes him pay. Love to see that. Manny Machado, also, as my band Big Jim brought up, now the active leader in grand slams in Major League Baseball. Now, that isn't necessarily a stat that's like, wow, Manny is just so clutch. He's so amazing. It's like, well, he's been playing forever, right? So this is more just the longevity thing. But even still, in a longevity sense, it is kind of crazy how long I've been watching Manny Machado just be an absolute beast in Major League Baseball. I sometimes forget, like, he really was like one of those S-tier prospects. And I know that that's like, duh, Javi, we know that. That's why he's a potential Hall of Famer. But even still, I don't know. It's just a reminder. Like, he's just been so good and so consistently good for so long, debuting at the age of 19. You just kind of forget that sometimes, that he came up when he was 19. Genuinely. Like, people forget that sometimes. It's really, really nuts. And then he had a great second season because he had, like, the best defensive abilities anyone's ever seen. So overall, good win for the Padres. It gets a little scary. And like I said, I critique lightly, like, you know, tap of just being like, I don't know if I would have done that when it comes to Randy Vasquez. Totally fine with Nick Pivetta. Morejon comes in, 1 1/3, 2 strikeouts. Estrada gives up a run. Got to talk about him a little bit. Talked about him on the postcast, but Estrada's just not what he used to be. I don't know if there's something wrong. I don't know if he's hurt. Last year, he had a bad stretch at one point in the season after he, you know, remember when he came up, he had like, 12 straight batters down by way of the K, you know, to use Ursila's, vernacular. But overall, I think that Estrada is just one of those guys that's, forget Suarez, guys. Stop talking about Suarez, right? It's Estrada lately. His ERA is 3.57, which isn't horrible. That's fine. But it's just really precipitously fell. Like, for a while now, he always at least gives up a hit every single game. The only outing that he's had where he didn't give up at least one hit was on 9/11, which I'm not trying to be funny or anything, against the Rockies. One inning in that one doesn't give up any hits. But ever since then, before that, the last time he did give up a hit was against the Orioles, and then all the way before that was back in the beginning of August. Like, he's been really shaky, and he makes you nervous. Now, he's got all the strikeouts potential in the world. I do believe he's great. I think he has so much potential. And frankly, if next year he's the second best reliever on this team and maybe not quite Mason Miller level, I won't be surprised. I just think he's that friggin' good. But overall, not a great outing from him. But thankfully, it didn't matter. Mason Miller comes in, gets the 2 strikeouts, goes 1 2/3, by the way. And then Robert Suarez comes in, gets a little bit scary for a second. I forgot who it was that hit the foul ball. Was it Soto? It was Soto against Mason Miller, I believe, in the bottom of the 8th. Or I forgot who it was. I think it was Soto. He strikes out on a pitch on the edge, a slider, that unbelievable, Avengers level threat of a slider that he has. But he did have that opposite field hit that just missed. They got really lucky on that one. Frankly, Mason Miller, give up some runs against the White Sox this weekend. Get it out of your system. You know what I mean? I'm a big get it out of your system guy. Sometimes where it's like, all right, do it now. Everybody go through your slumps now, and then maybe 3 games left, you guys rake, and then we carry that to the postseason. Sometimes I'm like, all right, eventually he's going to give up a run. But thankfully he didn't give it up there. Maybe give it up when we're up by like 7 or something like that. Or maybe this weekend even, and then Suarez comes in. I don't know. But get it out of your system is what I would say to Mason Miller. I'm of course kind of joking, but overall that's basically all to report. Nice RBI from Jake Cronenworth in this one. I talk a little bit about him tomorrow, so I'm not going to spoil it. But check that out, and that's basically it, man. Basically, and Robo Laureano hit a solo shot. Because of course he did. He's got like an 8,000, I think, OPS ever since coming to the Padres. It's amazing how good that dude's been for this team. And honestly, Ryan O'Hearn, in this game, doesn't do too much because he doesn't play. I forgot that he didn't play, but he's been a little quiet for a long time now, and that's really unfortunate. But the good news is, while he may be quiet and the overall Padres offense leaves a lot to be desired, the Padres have some good news. The rare good news for your Thursday. And then it'll be potentially taking place on Friday. We're going to talk about that, as well as injury stuff when it comes to the Padres overall this season in just a second. But first, I need to talk to you guys about our friends over at Monarch Money. That's right. We talked about them before on this show. That's because they're great. And that's because most people, it's hard keeping up with your finances, right? Most people can't even name all their financial accounts or even what their like overall total and worth is, whether it's 401k, properties, whatever. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. But thanks to Monarch Money, it's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. You don't have to worry any longer. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet, man. It's great. Maximizing investments, increasing your savings rate, easily reviewing finances with your partner and or financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week, long term, daily, whatever it is. You can find all your spending habits, right? All those sort of different things. It's a command center, guys. It's an all-in-one command center for your finances. Need I say more? But I will still say more. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. And just because you guys are the best and you're listening to this podcast, use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% half off your first year at Monarch Money, MONARCH money.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Go check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are back here in the final waiting moments of the Locked On Padres podcast for a thirsty 30. No, what's the better nomenclature for? Is nomenclature even the right word? One thing you guys got to understand about me is that I don't understand words sometimes. I don't understand anything most of the time, but sometimes I don't even understand words. But what's like a better word for not Thirsty Thursday, because that's not baseball related. I don't know. Leave it in the comment section if you've made it this far. But some news for the Padres, some good silver linings. First of all, the fact that they're playing the White Sox. I talk about that on tomorrow's episode with my guy Jake Ariani, so tune into that. Very fun episode. But some other good news. Padres, Xander Bogarts, possibly making a shockingly early return. Now, it was rumored that they had hope that he would return by the end of the regular season, and especially for the playoffs. There was hope for that. But this early, before the end of the regular season, maybe this could make all the difference, and it might. According to Sports Illustrated, I'm reading from their article right now, San Diego's Padres shortstop Xander Bogarts is still recovering from a broken bone in his foot, though his progress may allow him to join the team soon. He fractured his left foot on August 27th, but In the closing stretch, he appears ready for a return. In quotes, Xander had another good day, manager Mike Schildt said regarding Bogarts' recovery, according to Friars. He's all smiles. He extended a little bit more when taking ground balls. He got some tracking in with some live arms that we brought in today. He got in some swings in the batting cage. Now he's in a spot where he can travel and go over to Arizona and get some work in over there. No firm timeline. He'll let us know he's still in the process. He's not full bore or 100%, so how long that takes will dictate the time frame, but still encouraging. And then, per Kevin Acey's reporting, Bogarts will be at the Padres facility in Arizona, facing live pitching and running. So that's good. Could he maybe come back? Bogarts himself says I could probably play any day now, but only hitting, right? So maybe he's not ready for the field. I think so. Jose Iglesias will probably still be manning shortstop for a little bit, but bottom line is it's just cool that you might see him back this weekend. There's a slight chance that you might see him back this weekend. And if that's the case, that's great, especially against a White Sox team that is not very good. Maybe he can put up some hits. Just be good for this team, right? Be a good, solid player for this lineup because, let me tell you, ever since Jose Iglesias has been out, right? Or I'm sorry, ever since Xander Bogarts has been out, it's been a mixture of players, right? Like you've had Jake Cronenwith sometimes play short, but Jose Iglesias has played a lot more. Over this stretch, since August 27th, when Xander Bogarts got hurt, up until now, you know what Jose Iglesias' numbers are? They're pretty much anemic level of bad. 205, 244, 231 slash line. That's atrocious. A 37 WRC plus across this stretch, right? Really, really bad. Just so you guys remember, WRC plus, advanced metric. 100 is an average, solid major league player, and then everything below that is how many percentage points worse you are than the average player. It takes things like ballpark and pitching matchups and, batted ball luck into account as well. It's just a nice overall number that I like using on this show. 37 WRC plus over the last 41 plate appearances. So not great for our guy Jose Iglesias. And let me tell you, in general, it's worth mentioning, like, Jose Iglesias was really bad for the Padres this year. Like, he had, like, a career year last year, and it was expected that it wasn't sustainable. He had a 362 weighted on base and an expected weighted on base of 314, right? This year came all the way crashing down to earth, and this is actually his worst offensive season since 2017 with the Detroit Tigers. And also, his defense not all that amazing either, so in total, it accounted for negative 0.5 wins above replacement. Right, like his advanced statistics for the Padres, like at second base, not the greatest. At shortstop, not all that great. He does have 2 outs above average there, but at second and shortstop, just not very good. So he was a negative player this year. And look, they had to do it. They had to give him a shot. But it is a little frustrating that you saw him have a career year, probably unsustainable. But for him to be this bad, very, very unfortunate. A total 66 WRC plus on the year. Like I said, the worst since 2017. So even if Xander Bogarts hasn't been amazing, he did start looking awesome as the season went on, right? He was actually one of the Padres' most valuable players when you can't take into account not just his hitting getting a lot better, but also slugging a little bit more and getting on base more, drawing some walks, not swinging more on the first pitch, and most importantly, one of the best defenders at shortstop this year. Shockingly, in a lot of ways. Like, he was great this year at that regard. So having him back, look at it as, even if he's just an average bat, much better than what they were getting from Jose Iglesias. So hopefully they get him back soon and he's healthy, can play in the playoffs, all those sort of things. That is fantastic. Another thing, keep an eye on Matt Waldron. Had a rehab start the other day, looked pretty good. Is like a 3.5 ERA in AAA, around that sort of range. He's been solid. I bring that up because, again, we talk about the pitching matchups this weekend, but I just want a programming note for you. Sunday starter is not currently, at the time of this recording, set. Maybe there's a tiny chance you see him appear on Sunday. Maybe it's not Michael King. I just want to throw that out there. And if that does happen, I don't hate it, but I think that this team, man, like they're just trying to get through innings. So I think they might just go with whatever they know right now instead of Matt Waldron, who can be a little bit wild. But I'm just throwing it out there that he has looked okay in AAA, and as I still think can be a depth piece for this team if they want to try it out, right? It's just that Randy Vasquez was so unexpectedly solid for the team this year that Matt Waldron never really saw the field ever since, he got injured coming off, coming into the year, and then he comes into the game really, really bad in his one start back in, I think it was July, and that's basically been it from him. But just keep an eye out. He's been doing okay as of late. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention, have the Padres had an injury-riddled year? Because I got a couple comments about this. And let's look at it, right? If you look all the way back to last year in the playoffs. They lose Joe Musgrove, one of their best pitchers, for the not just the playoffs, but then as a result, this whole year. That was huge. That was a really, really big loss. You've had Yu Darvish battling stuff, and he actually was supposed to come back a lot sooner than he ended up, right? Which he was originally projected, I remember. Like, when the season started, they were like, yeah, it's okay, we're thinking June. Then it took a lot longer than they thought, and he's also been really just not looking the same, hasn't been very effective. Maybe he's just completely cooked. We'll have to see. Michael King, huge injury. So the way I look at it is like a lot of rotation injuries. Darvish, in fairness, maybe that should be expected because he's always had health problems, but most importantly is he's older now, so that's not going to get better magically unless he's Rich Hill, who's like the only example of a guy who got older and got better apparently, and especially with, his repertoire, like he just got better. So what can I say? That just happens. He comes back also, and then he suffers another injury. And look, forget the availability of him just playing. This injury has hurt because I just want to see him ramp up and get back to the Michael King we know and love in time for the postseason, in time so we could be like, cool, it's not literally just Nick Pivetta against the world, and then we're just going to have to hope that the bullpen shuts everybody down, et cetera, right? So we'll see. Jackson Merrill in and out of the lineup a lot this year, derailing his season. He's looked a little bit better as of late, but ultimate sophomore slump for our guy Merrill. But hopefully better. But again, more injuries there. Losing Jason Adam for the entire year, just on a freak play. The Xander injury, although he is coming back. All in all, I think if you want to bring up injury luck for this team, this was part of my hypothesis last season. You just tend to have a regression in injury luck. The Padres were overwhelmingly healthy last year, with the exception basically of Tatis, right? Tatis missed some time, but other than that, like, they got really, really fortunate with a lot of their health last year until the very end, obviously with Musgrove, and ever since then. So they haven't had the best injury luck for sure, but nothing that I would say is horrible, right? They just regressed to the mean. They were going to have some injuries at some point. It's very rare that you're just going to go like multiple years at a time, not having any injuries, right? Because this also goes back to 2023. 2023, they were super healthy as well, right? So that's my thing. I'm not freaking out about it and not blaming the baseball gods for striking us down with their wrath and injuring all of our players, but it's worth pointing out, and I hope that they can overcome it. And we talk about this more on Friday's show, which I've been teasing a lot. I don't know, I just love teasing the Fun Friday show. But in general, White Sox series, NL West, is it still in contention? We talk about that as well. But that's basically it, guys. And I hope you enjoyed the series anyway, even if it didn't end the way we would have liked. And with that all being said, that about does it for today's edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, the only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Remember to leave some comments in the comment description below, and I will answer them on Monday and throughout next week. I imagine there's going to be more and more questions as we head into the playoffs, which are right around the corner, guys. And I'm excited. I hope you are too. But until next time, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My Friar Faithful homies, take care.